Good morning. It's morning here in Sweden, and it's summer. I think it's July 23, 2022. And it's cloudy today, but I hope it will be sunshine so I can drive out and enjoy outside. Um, I'm going to work a little in Jesus Garden also. And there is one man on Facebook that lives here in Sweden, and he wanted to meet me for maybe 2 years ago, and it was in COVID-19 time, and he said that I should come to his home, and it's this today that I know what God have told me, that God have said that the man God will give me is a man that will come to my home. I should not need to go to this man's home, so I didn't go, and he was Catholic anyway, so that Catholic was a no for me for many years, because very many, I don't know why they are like they are. Maybe is it because they go in Catholic schools and they learn, because I have lived in United States and I have seen those children's work, homework from the Catholic schools, and they should write in like 10 paper full of writing that I should not have sex before marriage, and write it 20-30 times, so it's be like in this way, is it okay for me today? Is it okay that they brainwash the children with that they should not have sex before marriage? But in some cases it can be the opposite, that they be so much into it to have this with sex, because the school the whole time is telling them to not do things that have with sex to do. So I only say that in many cases, but not all cases, so you should not be angry at me because I'm saying that. But my experience of man that is Catholic man, it's they go very quick into sexuality. They want to have intercourse very soon, and they should wait, as they are raised Catholic, but it isn't. So I have avoided those Catholic men, and today is it not my religion? I don't have any religion today, so that's not for me, the Catholic Church, to do those repeating things because in the Bible it says that we should not repeat. We should talking fresh, one by one to God, and not be in a group and repeating all together the same things that they have said for maybe many generations. That should be for today to talk to God, and not from 200 years ago in the Catholic Church or other churches that do this repeating after me and rituals. And that is really showing religions that you should repeat what the knowledge from generation to generation to generation. And if it's an error in the beginning, the error continue from generation to generation to generation. So that is not good. We should have a talk with God, have relationship with God here, today, here and now, today, and not what was going on in the past. We should have a fresh relationship with God. And so this man, now he has sent me a friend of his that is from Africa, because this man is from Chile and he don't know English. So he wrote me and say, can you be friend with my friend? Because I can't speak English, but you can speak English to him. And I say, I will see. I will see who he is. And he was okay in that way, that he will come to my home. So that fit into what God have told me. But then, so I wrote back to him that he was welcome to my home. But then he wrote me that I want to come to, he said, I have listened at your podcast, he said, and I be emotional. And he said, I want to come to you and we can talk about God in Jesus Christ. So he was targeting these things that I'm talking against. So he have not listened very much on my podcast, because if he have done that, he should know that I am not talking through Jesus Christ. I talk sometimes about Jesus and what he was saying, what the Bible tell us what Jesus was saying, but then I explain it more and go away from what Jesus was saying and explain it and tell you my interpreting of what Jesus was saying and what he wanted to tell us. And so I was looking up at what is Jesus Christ that he wrote, and that is I thought it was Jesus on the cross, but it was not. Christ means the anointed one, the Messiah. So that was a new knowledge for me, that Jesus Christ doesn't say Jesus on the cross. It was Jesus, the anointed one, and the Messiah, and he is the Son of God. But we know it today, you that have followed me in my podcast, when the Spirit is coming and the angels sometimes coming, the Spirit and angel is not the same thing. And when they are coming, they are telling us that we are brother and sister in heaven, and in the Spirit we are brother and sisters. We are not separated from each other. So the whole heaven is like a whole family. So when they are saying this, that Jesus was Son of God, we are all his children. We are all God's children. So it's not only one. It's this that the interpretation of the Bible, and I have talking about this, about how to research this, how the Bible become to be the Bible, and you find out that it's many scrolls that have been found. It's not in the Bible. They didn't took it into the Bible, the Catholic Church, when they make this Bible to come together. And then they had people that we don't know today if they really was into religions, if they only was expert to see the words in those scrolls and in those rocks they find, and if they really translate it in that way it should be. And then we don't know if those that wrote those books, some of those books, they don't know who wrote it, and we don't know their agenda either. So it is only like a reference of what was in the past, historical documents that can't prove or be evidence of it. It's much of it is only a guess. So we don't know the agenda. What we know is what God and heaven is talking to us today. When they come through and talk, that is the fact. But what was said and written in the past, we can't know that is exactly what it was and what it was written. So it's sad when people say that the Bible is real, true, that nothing is error, because we know that have we that are awake and observer, we know that in all those kind different versions of the Bible, and different interpret and printed, you can see the difference between the versions. And especially, I can look into the Swedish Bible. I can read Norwegian, I can read Danish, I can read German, and and of course English. And so I can compare, and it doesn't say the same thing in those different versions. So the best is to have a relationship with God and heaven today, and then have the Bible or Quran or those that you see as holy books, that they have, it's will be on the side of your relationship with God on your own, without a book. That book should be in your bookshelf and taken out sometimes to read and to pondering on it, to think about what it says. And but the main thing is to have your relationship with God today. And so what he wrote, that we should talk about God in the way of Jesus Christ. And when because if he have listened at my podcast, he should know that God have coming down here and talk to us. So we don't need Jesus in the way to talk to God, because Jesus was a bridge between God and his disciple and those people that listened to him in his time. And because they didn't understand to come closer to God, and in that way they didn't need Jesus to hear from God, and didn't need to read books. But it was only few that could read books, and but today we should know that to come closer to God on our own, and not take the Bible as a bridge between us and God. We should take away the Bible in that way. The Bible, I don't say that you should not read it and study it, and or other holy books that you call, and that that is a complement. It's going with this to talk to God, but you should close the book and then try to find a way to could talk to God. And talking to God is not to take any extra medicine or smoke something, smoke dope or something like that for to reach God. That is wrong. Then it maybe can give you some hint of God, but it can easily be the devil that talk to you if you use medicine or smoke something. So it's very dangerous to do that. It can be confusing in your brain about it. You should be really clean from everything to could come closer to God and know that is God and not the devil that is talking to you, or if that is real the spirits that talk it to you, angels that talk it to you, and not someone sent from the devil. That you need to be clear in your brain to could come close to God. And sometimes God is putting people very down low, like he did it to me, that I was on my way to make a suicide, and then suddenly God come and talk to me. And it was one pastor in a big church, like the mega church. He was a drug dealer, and they shoot him, and he was laying in the darkness in the side street, and an angels come and give him the power to come out, drag him, pull him out on the sidewalk where people was walking. So they find him, and then he be a pastor, but he was not. He didn't understood. He go down and was into Jesus as God, and he died pretty young. God took him away from that church, but his wife is still going on and talking about Jesus, and got very much money because she is a friend to wealthy people that give her money. God is not money, but she have this mega church, but she is soon out because she is old now. But I was in that church for some time, and God told her about me, but she never understood. She never stopped and listened to God really. I could see some things in her that she heard God talking to her, but she didn't really pondering of it. She was not thinking deeper about it. She was like my mother in that church, but she never let me be in some position there in the church, and they kicked me out from. I should be. I was in education to be a minister for that church, but they kicked me out from it. So she didn't really listen. But I did some healing in the church, inside the church, but she never come to know that I did it to those people that was paralyzed, and they start to walk again like that. So it's sad that people don't understand what's going on. They are going with these old things, the past things, and they don't understand the agenda that in year 325, Constantine, the emperor Constantine, he created Jesus to be God. So they don't want to touch the past, because if they start to research the past, they will see that the Catholic Church had its agenda about what to believe in for people, and they still do it. They hold in the same things that the Catholic Church have told. And in the first place, what Constantine, the Emperor Constantine, was telling the Church in 325, to tell them that Jesus was God, that they should pray to Jesus as God. And then if there was people that didn't like what Constantine did, so they were killed. Those people that didn't like that Jesus should be God, they were going into the prison for lifetime, or they were killed. So that's where it come to be what it is today. And so far is it not peace here on earth, because there is no right church. If it should be one big right church here on earth, then we should have peace. But there is no peace. And so yesterday, it was on Facebook, music. I am in a group that like 40, 50, 60s music. And it was a song yesterday. A man was posted, and it is a very old song from the 60s. I don't know I love you, but I do. No, 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 no. I don't know why I love you, but I do. This song was did he post, and I wrote back that song was the man that was my love of my life. He on that cover, on that music record, he wrote under it so that that he loved me, and he didn't know why he loved me, and it was a real love poetry. And he still was going back to his fiancée, and we move apart, he and I, and then I find him after about 30 years again, and he was widow, and I wanted to be closer to him, and I wrote him, and he said that he want to live his rest of his life for his grandkids, he say, and don't want it to be with me. And he say that he have not thinking about me 1 minute, and that hurt me very much, that he didn't really remember me and was not looking after me and to see where I was going in life. When we were together, I was very much in party. I was drinking very much, and maybe he was thinking I should be alcoholic, and it was nothing to build on. So in that way I can understand him. And but I took contact with him to tell him that I was not like that. it was in his fantasy that I should be, because he didn't really knew me that I was a strong woman. So I changed my life on my own without any help, and be sober, and am sober, and I work for God now. And but he say that he was never thinking about me in 1 minute, 1 second since we were apart. And that hurt me so much, so I wrote him what he meant for me, and I say that I have thinking about him many times in these 30 years, and I have even looked where he was going, where he was in these 30 years. I could trace him on internet, and I told him everything. I pour out my heart for him. I wrote him because I didn't met him in person. I wrote him, and he didn't say anything. I think he didn't know what to say. And just after that, he died. Just when he should get the retirement and stop working and be with his grandkids, did he die. And I don't say that God did it, because we people are very good to do it by ourselves, to be killed. And in that way that he hurt me very much, he maybe did it to himself, that those in heaven didn't like his way to treat me. But I don't know. And but I wrote that to this man, and he wrote me back, and he wanted to be my friend. So we go into the messenger on Facebook, and I told him that it's not an accident that I wrote this on your post about this man, and that you took contact with me is not an accident. It was something that should be, I say to him. And I told him that his wife was on me and take contact, and from heaven. And he told me that his wife died. His wife died in front of him. She instantly died in front of him. So I understand that it's traumatic that he deal with today also. And I told him that your wife is telling me. I asked your wife, what was it, why she died? And the answer was from his wife. I told him that she died instantly, and she said to me that she didn't know what was that caused her to die. She said, once I was with him, and next second I was in another world, she said. And I told him that she was saying that to me because I felt her spirit was on my right side over my shoulder when I sit at my computer, and she looked into the screen. I saw that she really was into the screen, and And the man wrote me back and say, that was what the ambulance man was saying to me, that they didn't know why she died, but she didn't suffering anything. She died instantly. And so he confirmed for me what she was told me in the spirit. And I told him that he should be aware that she is going to take contact with him in a way that I don't know, but it can be that something dropped down, crash, breaks, maybe a picture on the wall, or the watch is stop, or he can have a dream about her talking to him. And he said that I hope my father take care of her in heaven. And I say that he maybe step forward also, your father, and do something. And you should know when something happen in your home, because they have told me that they will do something in your home this night, and you should not be frightened about it, because they only want your attention and tell you that they are with you. They are still alive. They are not dead. They live in heaven, and they'll love to be in heaven, and they're waiting for you to come to heaven. But it's not us that could end our life. We have to wait until that time comes, when it's time for us to come back to heaven. I wrote him. And then in the night, it was about, I think it was in his time, was it midnight? Because he didn't live in Sweden. But in his time, I had a dream that I was in a white house. Inside the house was it very white, and it was very much glass. It was that glass you have in the window, so you can look out. And suddenly it was a man there standing in front of me, and suddenly it was a glass that fell down on the floor and broke. And he looked down on the floor and look at the broken glass on the floor. And then the dream stopped. So now I'm very curious. I hope he going to answer me, because I asked him, I told him to tell me if something happened in the night. And I think it can be symbolic that they have coming through in the glass. The glass it's in very much in heaven, very much glass, where God is in his throne room, and he allowed them to come through God to this man. So I'm very curious if it happens something in the night. So I have to wait, and I will tell you in next episode if he answer me, if he tell me something. But it was only that dream last only for some seconds, and then I didn't have any dreams. And it was the dream that I remember, at least. Many dreams we don't remember, but that dream did I remember. And it was about midnight in his time. So he was maybe in bed when something happened. So I will see what he's going to say. I hope he's answer me. He seems like understand what I was saying. And he asked me because he didn't know my age, and he first, when he started to talk to me, he asked me if I was working, and I say I'm working, but I didn't want to say that I am retired. I say I'm working, and he asked me what with, and I work for heaven. I work for those that is in heaven, because that's my mission. That I understand my mission now. The plan God have for me is to bring back my ancestors to Israel, into Middle East, go back there and bring them there. And so I say that, and that was before I started to talk about his wife. And so I hope he's going back and remember that I was talking, that I was working for heaven. And you know I'm working for heaven, you that follow me. So thank you for listening, and God bless you, and God loves you, and I love you too.